Hello everyone, welcome to another video from Dice 8 Productions. I'm Chris Sheriff. I'm going to be running you through an Imperial Assault video today. We have our Imperial Assault Regionals tomorrow, and this is one of the lists I was contemplating running, so I'm going to break it down for you all and let you know my thoughts on it, and hopefully you can have some fun. And from my experiences with the list anyway, you will ruin some other people's days with it if you play it properly. So it is a Rebel Regen list. So obviously the name's taken from X-Wing, basically, the regenerating health, and I wanted to try and simulate that kind of play in Imperial Assault now that because the scoring's changed to be on a per figure basis as a figure dies. That's when you gain points from it. I wanted to see if I could make a list where just nothing died, and this is what I came up with. So we have the classic Luke Skywalker, the one in the core box. He's got Recovery 2 on his profile. We all know how he works by now. We have Leia Organa, who also has Recovery 2. And so those are your two big, they're both 3 dice attacks, decent speed. Behind a white die, the health isn't amazing, but if you can play it correctly, should come out okay. Like Luke adds in a block all the time, Leia adds in a surge cancel all the time. So not the worst stats, but they are possible to get taken down in a single activation. You just have to be really careful with positioning, and we'll come on to that in a moment. And then we have Din or Dan. I wanted some other figures that were going to be relatively cheap, but still be able to pack a punch. And Jin's really good because it forces your opponent to play around her ability. The her trigger is really nice. A command card, which we'll get to once we go to command cards, is good as well. Nimble can be really annoying. Cunning helps a lot as well, especially when we've got 3PO in the list. And she just does a lot. She adds in a stun into the list as well, which can go out of activation just because you can her trigger to get the stun off on a target who's coming in to annoy you. Then the key to the list is MHD19. He is another 5-point character, has the focus action, another recovery on there. But let's be honest, we're not going to be taking him for his attack. Blue-yellow's fine. You'll be able to get the attack off, and you're looking to do it to recover most of the time. And then, if you can, you'll throw a focus on yourself. But basically, he is there for his medical loadout as an action. An adjacent friendly figure recovers 3 damage. Then you also have Improper Procedure, which is choose an adjacent hostile figure, and that figure becomes weakened and suffers 1 damage. This is one you don't want to forget. It's actually really nice having Improper Procedure. Definitely worthwhile. I've used it a few times to finish something off, or get him in early in the round to run up to somebody, weaken them, and then pull him back, because that forces the opponent can't really leave a weakened figure to last the full round, so we need to activate it early, and you get a bit of activation control by being able to just straight up apply that weakened condition. Then we have the general Rebel support package, basically Gideon and 3PO. Gideon with tactical maneuver and on my mark gives you a lot of versatility, and 3PO is in the list not only for his ability to focus somebody else, but for a distracting ability. It's really nice to be able to have Din starting off with a surge cancel and a block before you even roll that white die. Then we have Heroic Effort. It's a 0-point card, and everybody in the list is a unique figure, so we might as well take it. The one thing you need to do is actually remember to use it while you're taking it. Then we have On a Diplomatic Mission. That one obviously goes on to Gideon, and honestly, this 1 point around can win you games. It's won me games multiple times. The movement's really good to keep pace, and it's just a really versatile 1 point upgrade that goes on Gideon. Luke has Motivation, This is essential to a list as well. Good use of motivation really helps a list along. So you get to do boosting the recovery of different figures. It helps keep MHD, especially, is one of the figures I normally end up using it on, because he's got 7 health, a decent amount behind a black die to not get one-shotted. So just buffing that health back up a little bit, and it can be the difference between someone being 1 shot away from death and 2 shots, that extra health. So it's making sure you understand where and when to use it. Then I had been running Smuggler's Run on Jin, but I found that I never really wanted her to leave the ball type formation that I was deploying. So I think Balance of the Force gives us a little bit more options. And then the last lot of points that I actually spend was on Mac. So there's a couple of different ways you can actually go, because before Mac we've actually got 4 points left over. And I'm going to explain with different options. You can go with Mernrin or Woku. And Woku is obviously a more reliable attack than Mac. It's the red-blue, and it has accuracy built in. So it comes out around about the same range, but normally has better damage. But he does have to stay still if he wants to ignore figures for the purpose of targeting. Whereas in Mern is another control element, and I actually wanted to take Mac for 2 reasons. The fact that he's a spy helps as we get to command cards. It's him and Leia, gives us 2 spies in the list, and with a focus his attack isn't actually that bad. The critical hit for PS2 is fine. If you can start forcing people to discard command cards as well, it's brilliant, but definitely not something you need to play around. But blue green is a decent enough 3 dice attack. You should be able to get some work done. The 4th option that you can do would be R2D2, and R2D2 adds a big tanky type model just with a double dodge on that die, and he can heal MHD and 3PO or himself with his action, and gives you good command card control. If you can occupy a position next to a terminal, he can just keep getting you that extra command card every round. But I think that Mac fit the list the best, but by all means try different ones out. I prefer the 3-point options because I want the initiative bid, so that I actually choose to go second in round 1. And that's important because you do have the just let me check, 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah, you do have the 7 activations. So 6 is normally where I try to sit at a minimum, but having the 7 means you can do some interesting things. You want to be able to go second in the first round, so that your opponent's having to use up their activations, and then you can have a double hit in the end, because you should hopefully out activate them with 7 in the current meta. And then if you get to go first in the next round, it's pretty powerful. Then we have the command deck, so we'll go on to here and we'll start going through it. So Element of Surprise is a good 0-cost card. One I really like. Obviously it takes out the risk of any dodges being rolled, just remove a die completely, and it's one of the staple 0-cost cards that I put in. Emergency Aid fits into the style of list we're looking to do. We want all of the healing and regen. We've got a couple of leaders in the list who can bump it up to recovering 3, and obviously don't be scared if you have to use it to recover 2, it's still a decent amount. Hide in Plain Sight is really strong on something like Leia or Mac. Leia especially, you can let her get into a position where your opponent thinks they've got her on the ropes, and then you can activate her Hide in Plain Sight and they can't attack her anymore. Obviously you need to be aware of different abilities, like Improper Procedure, for example, would bypass this entirely. Planning, it's all about just cycling the deck to get Leia's ability activating quicker, so it just gets those cards into your hand quicker. Rally is another 0 point staple. Recovery, again, it's a card I generally take, and again, recovery 2 for any model, so really strong in this type of list. Take initiative, I think 7 activations with a 3PO in there. I think you'd be foolish not to take it. It's definitely a really strong card, one of the best in the game. Then we get into 1 in a million. So if you've not played against a good Jin player using 1 in a million, it can be extremely painful for you. Almost guarantees that you're going to finish stunned, but really like it. Then Son of Skywalker, obviously we've got a Luke Skywalker in the list, so this card is definitely going to make an appearance. It will win you games, there's no doubt about that. Then we have Devotion. We have 2 droids in the list, 3 if you decide to drop Mac for R2-D2. So being able to cycle that and find Son of Skywalker or Miracle Worker is really strong. Miracle Worker has been the card that has won me the most games in this list. I'd say it's been more powerful than when I've needed Son of Skywalker. It really lets you bait people into overexposing themselves to get killing blows on different people. And then literally I've had Leia on 1 health, then people go in exposed for the attack, she dies, then I'll play Miracle Worker, and then before they get to activate she's back up to full health again, and that's just disheartening, and that can win you games on its own. Negation is another important card. It helps you control your opponent's take initiative. It helps you save a figure if you need to, if you get an element of surprise played on you. Just again, really strong card. I'd say it should be a staple in most command decks now. Heart of Freedom, we're playing Rebels, so you should be playing Heart of Freedom. This should be in every Rebel deck. Discard harmful conditions, recovery 2 and movement. It's the full everything you need in a command card. Intelligence Week. This is a card I decided to add in after a little bit of play testing. So this card lets you obviously look at your opponent's hand, which is worth a 1 point all on its own, and then you can choose a command card and discard it and suffer the strain equal to a card's cost. So again, if you're already holding Miracle Worker and Son of Skywalker, you can ditch the command cards and not take any damage, or you can use it to cycle through the deck to be able to use Leia's attack to put it back in the deck. So there's a lot of versatility here, but it definitely lets you get rid of your opponent's take initiative, your opponent's Son of Skywalker, anything like that. And in this regen style list, there's no reason why Mac can't do this. He can attack safely from behind your lines, so most opponents will struggle to actually target him. Take 3 damage, it won't kill him, it'll leave him on 1 health. Then you can use MHD to just pop him back up to full, and it's a nice closer to a round, depending on how you've had to go about things. Then one of my favourite cards, I mean, I've been running Com Disruption in a list with 0 spies. That's how strong I think it is. It's basically a second negation in that case. But when you actually have 2 spies on the table, you can do quite a lot with it. It can stop quite a few powerful cards. So there's a command deck summary and the actual list. I definitely think that it's worth some play. You can't spread your list out. It's very much like the old smuggler ball thing, where you just try and keep everyone together. You want to be within 3 squares of MHD. You want Jin, Luke and Leia all stood next to 3PO. You want Gideon to have line of sight to people, and you just want Mac in that pile as well, shooting through. And it's just, if you can force people to engage with you, you should come out on top. The amount of control you can get by just darting someone to the other side of the ball so that they can't be targeted. saving MHD for a later activation so that you can actually heal them back up. And obviously, depending on the command card you draw, it's very strong. I've currently played 5 games with this list and undefeated with it. One of them, a few of them were at just an OP kit event, where it wasn't necessarily the highest level competition, but decent players, and just it's very frustrating to play against. There's a couple of videos I'll try and rip over from the Sentry Box channel just to show it off as well, but it's a really fun list, but then you've got to really play it differently. You can't play it like you want to. You can't run Luke off and expose him too much. He's got to sit in, and for myself, I'd never go for I very rarely give a focus to Luke and Leia. I'll be focusing Jin and Mac, so that I have 4 3-dice attacks rather than 2 4-dice attacks. That's the way I tend to play it, but give it multiple threats and try and draw people in and get them to engage with full blob. And because of the number of corridors on the current map rotations, it's actually pretty easy to narrow the angles at which shots can come at you from. Whereas in all of your guys can step forward from the ball, shoot, step back in. You've got Mac who can shoot through everything. So it becomes really easy to outgun your opponent if you take up a fixed position, normally around a terminal, and just sit on it and wait for them to engage upon you. A lot of the maps at the moment aren't really conductive. Dianoga, you can pretty easily fight that and still sit in your formation. If you occupy the actual room that the green area is in for the new map, Ankhed Cantina, we can't drop off the crates because you're occupying that space. You can do some interesting things with like zone control, and people will just naturally be forced to fight you, even when it probably isn't within their best interests. So give it a try, let me know what you think. Obviously, blatant weaknesses, anything that's deadly can ignore your dodge results. Really ups the damage potential that you're going to be throwing out. But you're going to be suffering. So that's something to watch out for. And obviously, a few bad rolls. If the games I've played, I've managed to cycle the deck quick enough to get to Miracle Worker. But if you don't get it, once it starts to die, it starts to die really quickly. So it's something to consider. But yeah, give it a try, guys. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching.